Hello and welcome back to my channel, Callie's Kingdom. I'm Callie and today I'm going to tell you about my summer TBR. I have 18 books on this list, so let's get started. First, we'll start with the book that I am actually reading right now. I know. It's called Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. It's the third book in the Skyward series, and this is one of my sci-fi books I have on my summer reading list. Okay, so for summer reading list, I guess I should have started out with this. I have some books, like 5 maybe, that are like summer. They're like, when you think of summer, you probably think of like some of these types of books and everything, and so I have those. And then the other ones are kind of a mix. I have 2 sci-fi, including this. I have, how many? 1, 2, 5 fantasy, because I like fantasy, and then 6 like YA murder mysteries / thrillers. So, first, as I was saying, I have Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. It's one of the 2 sci-fi. So, I'll just say this is the 3rd book in the Skyward series, like I said. And Skyward is kind of about this girl who, she wants to become a pilot for the Defiant Defense Forces or something, because her people are stuck on a planet, and there's these people called, these aliens, I guess, called the Krell, that will, like, attack them if they try to go up, and they also just, like, come in and attack randomly. But she cannot be a pilot because her father was deemed a coward because he, like, ran from battle. So the first book is all about her, like, fighting against that and trying to figure out what really happened to her father. Was he really a coward? And becoming a pilot and all that. And then it just kind of, like, grows bigger and bigger and, like, accelerates from there with the rest of the series. So she's not on her home planet in this one. She is in some place called the Nowhere, basically, which is pretty cool because although this is sci-fi, it has some, like, fantasy-ish elements, and she learned she's something called a Cytonic. So, yeah. On the subject of sci-fi, I will talk about the second sci-fi book I have on here. It's that one. Oh yeah, this is my summer reading list I did in my bullet journal. So it is called 1,000 Pieces of You. And I've heard that it's not like straight out sci-fi, it's like sci-fi romance mix, which I think sounds pretty cool. My best friend loves that series. It's like a trilogy, I think. So I want to read the first book. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I know that the main character is like the daughter of 2 like physicists or something like that, and there's like different parallel universes, and she like goes through them, and it's romance. And that's all I know, because I don't really like to go into books knowing a lot. I kind of read the premise, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and then I put it down. And especially if my friends have read a book and said they really liked it, then I definitely will put it down on my TBR. I mean, maybe not immediately, but I have similar reading tastes to them. At least, they're not entirely similar, but the books they recommend to me, they know that I'd like. So I actually have 2 other books that I got recommended from my friends. Well, my one other friend. So I have my 2 best friends. My one recommended 1,000 Pieces of You. My other one has 2 that she recommended and really liked. So the first one is a fantasy book called The Stolen Kingdom. Apparently her older sister read that series and really enjoyed it, so then she read that series and really enjoyed it. From what I saw online, I know it's about like princesses, at least one princess, I don't know if it's multiple. And I read online that it was somewhat of an Aladdin retelling, which is pretty cool because you don't really see that story like told a lot. And if my one friend, and then I'm also friends with her older sister, so if 2 of my friends really like this book, I had to check it out and see what it's about. Now, my library doesn't have this book, so I requested it, so hopefully it gets it in, because apparently it's from a self-published author. The other book she really liked and would recommend is also from a self-published author, but one that I watch a lot on YouTube, named Abby Emmons, and it's 100 Days of Sunlight. So I had this book on my radar because my friend recommended me her YouTube channel, and then my friend read that book and really enjoyed it, so I had to put it down on my list. And it just looks so summery and so bright. I don't know if it actually takes place during summer, but I know that it's about a girl named Tessa, and she like gets in some sort of accident and she goes like blind for 100 days. And it's kind of about her traversing those struggles, and she meets a guy named Weston, so it's kind of like a little bit of a romance. Well, not a little bit. It's kind of a romance as well as like her dealing with those problems, and I know it's dual POV. And Abby Emmons actually just announced another book that she's publishing that looks really good, but it's not on my summer reading list because it doesn't come out until September. And that was called The Other World. So, since I watch her so much, I think it'll be super cool to like read her book and see her advice that she gives about writing put into play. So, which one should I go on to next? I guess I'll just start out. I've been talking for like 5 minutes already. What do I mean, start out? I'll go to the summary books. So the one that I have here is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I actually watched that TV show last year and I really liked it, and I thought it'd be a fun summer read, and my library has the first book, so I thought it'd be cool to check out sometimes. Especially because on here I have some later reads, some more like fantasy world building heavy reads, and then some more like thrillers, mysteries. So I wanted to like mix it up and have a wide variety of stuff. So then it's another like summer romance called The Summer of Broken Rules. And apparently it's a young adult romance, and I don't read a lot of like romances, but I want to branch out because I do like romance subplots. And I did read a romance. I forget if it was early. I think it was last year. That had some magic powers and like destiny and fate involved, but it was like primarily like a romance with fantasy like elements in it. So I think it's kind of cool to like try and branch out and read books that I don't normally read, especially because I feel like I have been enjoying more of like romance subplots and romance and things. So anyway, that was a long story. So I think that it's about this girl, and she's on like an island during the summer for someone's wedding, and she's like, I think she was like a maid of honor or something. Not the maid of honor, she was a bridesmaid, although I don't know for sure. But I know that there's a groomsman that she thinks is really cute, and they're also playing this like giant game of assassin, which, if you don't know that, I didn't really know much about it before this year actually, but it sounds really fun, where people have like water guns, and then they have like a target, and they have to find them and like shoot them with their water gun and like get them out, and they're trying to like stay in. So she creates an alliance with him, and they're like going through this game, which I think is really cool and such like a fun aspect. So yeah. And then I have a book that I thought was young adult, but now I'm not sure if it's young adult or not. But I don't know much about it, but it's another like summery romance. I heard some about it called like Every Summer After. And I think it's about two people who they were together and then they broke up or something, but they go to a lake house or a beach house or something. I honestly don't remember much about this. But it's kind of going back and forth from like present to past. So yeah, we'll see. And then if you saw my May wrap up, you saw that I read why am I blanking on the name? I have this book here. We Were Liars. I knew it was something about liars. And I know that they have like kind of a prequel about the girl Cadence, her like ancestor. I guess not like ancestor, but like a relative like a couple years back or whatever. I don't know. And it's called Family of Liars. And I'm excited to see what that's all about because I really don't know much except that like I really liked the writing style. I really liked what went on there, and I'm kind of intrigued to see how it would be like in this prequel because I thought that was just going to be a standalone. And then is a fantasy romance, which I read, Caraval. That one was a really good series, and this takes place in the same world, and it's called Once Upon a Broken Heart. And there was this one character that was in the like second and third books of the Caraval trilogy, and apparently he's the love interest in this book. But he's not this character. His name is like Jax. He's a fate. So like he's kind of like not a god, but he has like powers like that. And he was like not really the good guy, who's more of like a troublemaker and kind of like would hinder the main characters in the Caraval series. So I'm interested to see how this like romance would play out, and I'm excited to go back into the Caraval world because it is just so magical and fun. It really gives me like Alice in Wonderland whimsical vibes, and I loved the author's writing style. And then there was a book that I just randomly saw online somehow. I don't exactly know how. But oh, I think it was because it was like related. It was said to be like the Caraval series, and when I was looking up the Once Upon a Broken Heart, I saw it, and it was called Hotel Magnifique, and it seems like a bit of like a fantasy, but like a mystery as well about this hotel that only appears a certain amount of years, and these two sisters who get a job inside, but then they start to realize like the dark secrets of the hotel, which that does remind me a lot of Caraval, because Caraval is about like a carnival, I guess, that appears only a certain, or I think it's every year, but it's in a different place every year, and there's like some dark secrets that go along with it. I mean, not really dark, but like some secrets, and like there's two sisters who go into it, so that reminded me of that. And also I love sister dynamics in books. I'm a sister myself, so. And I already said The Stolen Kingdom, and the next one is Small Favors. So this book, I honestly don't remember much, except I think it's a dark fantasy, and it's by the same author that wrote House of Salt and Sorrows, and I loved House of Salt and Sorrows so much. It was one of my favorite books last year, 5-star read. So I really want to check out this book by her too, and I'm excited to see what she does because I loved the dark fantasy aspect of House of Salt and Sorrows. It kind of combined two of my favorite genres, mystery and then fantasy, and I thought that was really cool. It was like a thriller almost set in a fantasy world, and it was also a retelling of 12 Dancing Princesses. I don't know what Small Favors is that much about, but we'll see. Okay, so yes, it is another day. I went to post the video, and then we'll really combine the two clips together because like I stopped to the first one, and apparently the second one did not record. So now it is like a week or two later, and we are going to continue on with that video. So let me get to the page in my bullet journal. I've now read a lot more, so actually, I think I've read 5 out of the 18 on this list already. I've just been having so much time. But anyway, the next one is called Ash Princess. I don't really remember much about it, what I saw online, except I think it's a princess. Her kingdom gets taken over when she's like little, and now she's just trying to get her kingdom back or whatever. It sounds like a very classic like fantasy, but I am in the mood for that right now. So I just placed a hold on it at my library. So hopefully that will come in soon. And then we move on to the thrillers and murder mysteries and all that, and actually I think I read most of these. Well, I read 4 out of the 6 already, because I'm filming this video reading thrillers for a week right now. So I just want to start off with the one that I did not enjoy very much. I read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I think I rated it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. So this was the one that I read before I started making the video, and I got this at my library for $4, so it wasn't like I missed out on that much. But it was my first adult thriller, and it just wasn't my favorite. I'm sure other adult thrillers are better, but this one took so long to get into it, and I wasn't scared. Well, I was like a little bit scared at some points, but I feel like thrillers, you need to be on the edge of your seat. I don't want to be scared like in a horror movie, but I love having that feeling in thrillers, like what's going to happen, what's going on. So now that moves on to the first book that I have down, All Your Twisted Secrets, and I felt this way reading that book. I rated it 4 stars. Wow, I'm giving my ratings already. This is just supposed to be a TBR, but whatever. I just finished that yesterday night, actually, and you'll see in my Reading Thrillers for a Week reading vlog that I loved the beginning. I loved the setup. Basically, 6 people, they're invited to this scholarship dinner, and then they get in there and they're locked in, and there's a vial of poison and a bomb, and the bomb's set for like an hour ticking down, and if they don't choose someone to inject the poison with before the end of the hour, then the bomb will go off and they'll all die. So it's very much like edge of your seat. It's flashing back from like 11 months ago, and then 37 minutes left, whatever, and then it flashes back between that. And the main girl, Amber, she's like the music geek, or that's what she's described as. They're all like a different stereotype. And she says that that she wants to get them all out of there alive. So it was really good up until the ending. which seemed to come out of left field. I was like, what? It made no sense. But I think the author threw it in there for a big plot twist, surprise, reveal, ending. Oh my gosh, that no one could have guessed. And that's right, no one could have guessed it because the clues were not there that I saw, that I picked up on anyway. And that really contrasted another one that I just read, Five Survive by Holly Jackson, and that was amazing. Similar premise with 6 people, and either one of them, and they're in an RV trip. I mean, this is different. And their RV broke down, and they see a walkie-talkie, and they realize all the wheels have been shot, and there's like some guy with like a gun and like hidden in the trees. So they're all trying to barricade themselves in there. They're really all on edge. And then he's like, one of you guys needs to tell me a secret, and then only that person will die, because like he's looking for a secret, like a specific one, or all of you guys will die. So it's kind of a similar premise like that, but Five Survive just did it so much better. It was so good. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. There were so many plot twists. There was a big reveal, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I guessed another big reveal, and then that was revealed, and then another thing was revealed, and there were just big reveals upon big reveals up until the end of the book. And I love how I could guess one of them, but the other parts I didn't. But then when those were revealed, it was like, oh my gosh, it's been leading up to this the whole time, and it was so good. I loved it so much. 5 stars. And then I just lent it to my mom, so she's reading that now too. The other one that I read, it's categorized as a thriller, but it really wasn't giving like thriller energy. Like, it wasn't scary. I feel like a middle schooler could read it, and maybe it's like that. It's like a young adult. It's not too young, but it is written on like the younger side of young adult. And it's about this girl named Jess. Oh, let me show it. It's called This Is Not the Jess Show. And she's like living in, 1998? And then she starts to see things. She starts to like hear strange things. She sees like a phone like slip out, like an iPhone out of her friend's bag, but the iPhone hasn't been invented yet because it's 1998. And I feel like it was an enjoyable book. I think I rated it 3.75. I would recommend it to people, but maybe people that are on the younger side, because also I feel like the reveal, like, she was asking this guy, like, what is going on? And he seemed to know. And he just told her. He straight out told her. And it just came off like, okay, he should have put up a little bit more of a fight and been like, fine, I'll tell you. And then that's how she realized. And it was a thriller in the sense that there's, like, a mystery going on, I guess. But, like, no one died and nothing, like, too scary happened. It wasn't like anything like that, and no one's life was in danger. So it wasn't like a scary thriller. It was more like, I wouldn't categorize it as realistic fiction. I guess if I did have to categorize it, it would have been as like a light thriller. Is that a thing? I don't know. But anyway, on to the 2 that I haven't read yet. So there's 10, which I saw online, but my library doesn't have, so I put in a recommendation for them to buy it, but they haven't gotten any of my recommendations yet, because I also recommended The Stolen Kingdom, and I also recommended 100 Days of Sunlight, and that was like at the beginning of June, and now it is June 14th, and I'm waiting. I don't know. Maybe they won't get it, and I'll just have to buy it myself or get it somewhere. But 10 is about these kids who are stuck on an island. I guess it sounds a little bit like Lord of the Flies, but not really. It's more like people keep dying, and they're somehow stranded there, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on, who's killing them, all that, blah, blah, blah. And I heard it was like a retelling of an Agatha Christie novel, which I've never read any of those. I forgot which one it is, but you can look it up if you're really interested. But the premise sounded really good, and I really want to read that, but my library doesn't have it, and neither does any of the 2 other libraries near here have it either. So this must be some really underground book that no one knows about, but I randomly saw online. And then the last one, out of all the thrillers, it's probably one I'm least excited about, but like, I'm still excited. Obviously, it made it onto the list. And it is called Summer's Edge. And apparently it's about a girl who the year before she died at the lake house. And now 4 4 kids are coming back together who knew her, who they all go to the lake house, and they start to realize that maybe her death wasn't that much of an accident anyway. So it does sound really good too. And I don't know if my library has it, but I hope they do. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe some of these will give you recommendations for the summer, because I'm honestly excited to read all of these, except for the ones I've already read, because why would I be excited to read them now that I read them? So I read 5 out of the 18 already. I read Cytonic, which you saw at the beginning, which 5 out of 5. I read All Your Twisted Secrets, which was 4 out of 5. I've read 5 Survive, 5 out of 5, so good. Wow, 2 5-stars! Yes! Alright, This Is Not the Jess Show, 3.75 out of 5. It was close to a 4, but I don't think it quite reached 4. And then The Paris Apartment, which was like, I'll just say 3 out of 5. That would be the one I'd least recommend least out of all of them. But yeah, I'm excited to read all of these, so stay tuned, and that reading thrillers for a week video will come out soon. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye!